The Cannabis Show is for information only. You should always consult with a qualified and licensed physician or other medical care provider.
Player 1. Player 2. Fight.
It's time for Strain versus Strain. Hart and Basil will both have 30 seconds to defend the strain. For your chance to win a prize today, tell us who you think wins in the YouTube comments below. We want to see those comments. Now, who won last time? Hart, with 89% of the votes, took away. Look like it's time for maybe a comeback. What are you thinking there, Hart?
This is the greatest night in the history of my life. I just want to say one thing to my wife at home. Yo, Joe, I did it!
Is that a Rocky moment, Basil? Like, yeah. Get back here, James Brown, come on.
Winner.
Okay, can Hart keep his winning streak going? Today, Hart is representing Hydropothecary's Green Chai, a brand new strain from them, and Basil is representing Luminarium from MedRelief. Those capsules actually give me those tracers. Okay, Basil, you can kick things off this round. You have 30 seconds to make your case. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and go!
All right, Luminarium. The great thing about Luminarium is the versatility of this one. So you got a nice amount of pinene in there, so in small amounts, you microdose that. That's a great focusing strain. You can use that strain all day long. But if you kick up that dose a little bit, those other terps in there, that terpinolene, things like that, they're gonna give you that nice sedation, so good pain relief. Use it at night for some sedation. Other great thing about Luminarium is you can get it in oil form or capsule form. So I love my Lumi. I go with two capsules to focus, 3 or 4 to go to sleep.
I know some people that use it for sleep. More daytime for me. That's awesome. Good job. All right. Well, it looks Hart, can you do 2 in a row?
Congrats on the timing, buddy. That was like, holy cow. Can I do 2 in a row? I'm about to create a dynasty, my friend.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, so Green Chai is a brand new strain from Hydropothecary. It is an indica-dominant hybrid strain. It's running just 9 to 11% THC, so it's not like super like Thor's hammer, but it's more like a daytime, early evening indica. But as per most of a Hydropothecary strain, this one does fight above its weight. So I'd say, more like has the effects of around 15%. In terms of terps, we got definitely some caryophyllene in there. There's some pinene in there, and some myrcene. For sure.
All right, yeah, 4-second penalty.
$6 a gram, by the way.
Okay.
That's one thing I want.
That was past the time.
That's
14-second penalty, so we're going to take points off there. Great job for both of you, though, and they both sound like awesome strains. For those of you watching at home, who do you think won? Tell us in the comments below, and we'll announce a winning strain in an upcoming show. We'll also choose a winning YouTube comment at random to win a prize.
This is Basil's Buds, where I talk about someone awesome who I kind of wish was my bud. Having been a speaker on the stage at a TED Talk is an elite level accomplishment in itself. Well, Dan Sutton has done that and has been named a top 40 under 40 rising star of cannabis and has founded an ACMPR licensed producer, Tantalus Labs. And the list goes on. I follow Dan on a couple social channels and I find that he does 2 things really, really well. He has an uncanny ability to somehow subliminally force me to anticipate Tantalus cannabis more than Christmas. And he portrays himself as an intelligent, down-to-earth individual who you could chill and have a quality conversation with. And according to some of the bud shots on his social feeds, you know he's bringing some fire to the conversation.
Hi, welcome to Kate's Kitchen. Today in another episode, if I can do it, you can too. We're gonna talk about tinctures. They're typically alcohol-based. This one I picked up at my local neighborhood co-op. It's Spiritus Rectificovani, otherwise known as rectified spirit. They make it in Poland. It's 96% alcohol. That means it's 192 proof. They told me it was the strongest on the planet, so I bought it. It's about 40 or, actually this one was $50 a bottle. So you'll need your alcohol. You don't need a lot of ingredients for this. You need your alcohol, you need your cannabis. I chose to use Broken Coast sativa tips because they were $4 per gram, which was a good deal. And they're always $4 per gram, by the way. So 15 grams of that. And then I used Baleen by Organogram just to get my CBD in there because I like having CBD in whatever I ingest. So put it together, stuck it in a glass baking sheet, baking pie plate thing, and see if I can do it. You can too, basically. I'm serious, because I don't even know what this thing is called. So you put your tin foil on the top, you put it in the oven at about 240 for about 40 minutes. That's what I do. And then it comes out kind of baked like that. It smells kind of nutty and crispy, which is great. I have a magical butter machine, which I'm very fond of. It's got different settings on it. You basically add this, like you just put it in here. It's hermetically sealed, so it's nice. It doesn't smell after that. You use 2 cups of the alcohol, and then you compress 4 to 8 hours on it, depending on what kind of a rush you're in. Either one works. I think 8 would probably have a bit more of the cannabinoids and terpenes, but either works fine. So after 4 to 8 hours, you take it out. You can take this thing which comes with the magical butter machine and pour it all through, and then just get the plant matter out of it. So you're basically just draining the liquid off, and this also comes with it, very handy. So once the liquid is drained off, you pick a container of your choice and you fill it. The nice thing about tinctures is that they can last for about a year. So you can make a big batch and then just store them in a cool, dark place, and you're good. Unlike brownies, there's only about 7 calories per milliliter, which is nice. You can add it to juice or toast or garlic mashed potatoes. You can put it under your tongue you'll need one of these, and start slow. We usually say start at 0.1, but because it's alcohol-based, you can probably up it a little bit if you want, like a 0.3, but just try to figure that out for yourself, because we can't give dosing advice specifically. Write it down, see the effect. It should be a little bit faster than the oil, but a little bit slower than a vaporizing method, for instance. You can put it under your tongue. Some people say it burns a little bit, and you'd have to hold it there for about 2 minutes to let your capillaries get into your bloodstream, or you can just swallow it, in which case it acts like an edible, and it would probably take about 45 minutes to 2 hours to peak in your system. What a way to go. Tinctures.
Hi there, Chris, Hart, Kate, and Basil. And Kate, with those tinctures and stuff, you don't have to use a butter machine though, correct?
No, absolutely, you don't have to use a butter machine. If you have a mason jar at home and you have a coffee filter, then you can and you got 3 weeks to spare, or some people say about 3 weeks, then you can just infuse it over 3 weeks and shake it once a day, twice a day maybe, and then just use a coffee filter to do the same thing. Or you can use heat or cold to speed up that process too.
Made from scratch, right?
From scratch.
Yeah.
Mom's kitchen.
One thing, though, I know you mentioned using alcohol.
Yeah.
There are certain you can use another base if you like, right?
For sure.
Glycerin and things like that, because some people find that it does burn quite a bit, right?
It burns.
Glycerin's a good idea.
Yeah, there's several different methods.
Basil, how would you take a tincture?
Under the tongue, I think is
Yeah.
the best idea.
Just
You're gonna get the quickest reaction, but you could always swallow it, let it hit the liver, and go from there. It's gonna just be a little bit longer.
Yeah. Awesome. Good job, Kate.
Hi, I'm Hart the Science Guy. Today I'm going to talk to you about boiling points of terpenes and cannabinoids. We all know you get the most therapeutic benefits from cannabis by heating it. But what are the most beneficial temps for heating your cannabis? And at what boiling point are the cannabinoids and terpenes most effective? Let's start by going through some main cannabinoids. Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC as you lay folks like to call it, has a boiling point of 314 degrees Fahrenheit or 157 degrees Celsius. Cannabidiol, or CBD, has a boiling point of 320 to 356 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 to 180 degrees Celsius. Cannabichromene, or CBC, is coming in hot at 428 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 degrees Celsius. And cannabinol, or CBN, has a boiling point of 365 degrees Fahrenheit or 185 degrees Celsius. Now for some more popular terpene boiling points. Linalool, that cool cat of a terp, boils off at 388.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 198 degrees Celsius. Limonene, the pick-me-up terpene, has a boiling point of 350.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Myrcene, the terpene that lays it on heavy, boils off at 330.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 166 degrees Celsius. Pinene King of the Forest of Freshness has a boiling point of 312.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 156 degrees Celsius. And finally, Caryophyllene, that peppery sesquiterpene, boils off at 246.2 degrees Fahrenheit or 119 degrees Celsius. Now you know, I'm Hart the Science Guy.
It's Chris here. I got Hart, Kate, and Basil, and I'm laughing because when I was watching that, I'm thinking Thomas Dolby, Blind Me with
Science!
So now I got that song in my head. And I don't know, like, do you look like Thomas? I don't even know what he looks like. I'm going back to the 80s here. This is crazy, but it's amazing what you can do with your cannabis.
Yeah, I mean, you can dial it in, right? So if you know you're looking for the maximum benefits from pinene, for example, if you know the right temperature where it starts to boil off, you can really be really precise and dial it in so that you get the maximum amount of pinene at that temperature right where it starts.
I think it's really empowering for patients as well. Like, you can select portions of a single strain to be able to target for its certain effects, and then the fact that you can even use a strain for its effects and not even hit the temperature to vaporize the THC.
Right.
So maybe use some strains for their effects and not get high off of it.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And you want to make sure, probably, if you're really starting to play with this, which is probably a good idea, that if you're getting a new vaporizer, you might as well get one that has like a temperature, a degree by degree setting, and really take full advantage of that too.
That is awesome. And I just, an example of that would be someone who needs, let's say pinene for breathing problems and stuff like that. They get it to where that temperature is for pinene and start vaping away. I guess that's how it works, right?
Bingo.
Excellent. All right. Well, moving on, let's check in with Strain Explorer. If you are battling anxiety, restlessness, pain, digestive problems, or even looking to add a little shot of happiness into your day, well, stay right here. May I present to you a Freya's Churchill strain. This indica blend has a nice ratio of THC to CBD of 6 to 10. The lower THC can make the strain good for day use. With a higher CBD count, the two cannabinoids work well together and may help keep you focused, relaxed, with pain relief. This strain has some extra punch in terms of terpene power, as Churchill has a good dose of myrcene, caryophyllene, and even a healthy portion of limonene. Myrcene, known to be a muscle relaxant and sedative. However, limonene, which acts as an antidepressant, can bring on sunshine to your day, which in turn does not necessarily knock you out. Add the magic of caryophyllene to treat inflammation, pain, and bowel problems. Let's not forget humulene, which scientists are saying could be used with assisting in weight loss. Churchill is affordable, effective, with a pleasant taste. I would also recommend to try blending or mixing Churchill with your favorite strain. Churchill by Freya.
So you've broken down your bud and you've chosen to roll a joint. Well, the choice doesn't stop there. Rolling papers come in all shapes, sizes, and materials. If you're looking at the wall of papers and you find yourself feeling lost, best to start with a standard inch or inch and a quarter, and start with one that's not too thin before adventuring into the world of king sizes and rice papers. After getting the feel between your fingers, be sure to transition to something thinner to improve the quality of your smoke. I thoroughly enjoy rolling joints of all types, and even though I prefer to skin up with a filter for this demonstration, I'm going to be happy to roll with and without. First, pull your leaf and be sure that the glue is both facing you and on the top. Hold your paper with your index finger on the inside, creating a trough to put your cannabis in. Prior to putting a pinch of pot in your paper, take one last opportunity to scan for stems that will surely puncture when rolling. Now, apply the desired amount of green to your paper and spread evenly. This step is the best place to affect the desired shape of your finished reefer stick. So here are a couple pro tips. Put slightly less herb in the middle of the paper if you're hoping for an even thickness tip to tip. This is your best defense against a pregnant-looking doobie. If you're hoping for a professional cone shape, be sure to go heavy on one end. Now, before trying to tuck the bottom of the paper in prematurely, fold it up like a little taco and start gently rolling and shaping the little log of cannabis inside. If the paper is not rolling smoothly between your fingers, don't be afraid to apply a tiny bit of moisture to your fingertips to help you get a grip, but don't get sloppy. Be sure not to apply too much pressure when rolling. If the joint is rolled too tight, it'll be difficult to smoke. When you're happy with the shape of your joint, slowly draw the bottom of the paper down to meet the tips of the thumbs. Push the thumb tips in and under the index fingers behind the paper to tuck the bottom of the paper in behind the cannabis. Continue the roll of the thumbs up the index fingers, pausing briefly just before the end to moisten the glue, and then spin it up. When using a filter, perforations make for a clean look and a quick roll, but any small roll of cardboard will do. Repeat the same steps as rolling without a filter, but make some space on one side or the other. Place your filter in the paper and snug your weed right up to the cardboard to avoid any space in between. This will keep things from getting floppy. This time, when shaping your joint, keep one hand on the filter and let it control the slow spin of the joint, and allow the other hand to move back and forth, molding the shape you desire. Tuck your paper in back near the filter, and then with the hand not holding the filter, run your thumb up the paper while slowly spinning with the filter hand. Pause briefly to moisten the glue and spin it up. Tap your joint lightly to settle the cannabis and firm it up if necessary, then give it a light.
With legalization in full tilt, you've likely heard a lot more cannabis terms tossed around. This new segment will break down some slang as well as technical terms in this blaze new world. So here are a few to get your vocabulary up to speed. Rosin. Rosin refers to the product obtained after an extraction process that utilizes a combination of heat and pressure to squish resinous sap from your initial starting material. The result is a translucent, sappy-like product. BHO, or butane hash oil, a very high THC concentrate created by running butane over the cannabis plant matter. Blunt. Picture a cigar, but instead of tobacco inside, it's filled with cannabis, usually made by removing the tobacco from a store-bought cigar like a Swisher Sweet or a Philly Blunt, and then rolling the cannabis in the outer skin or leaf. Stay tuned for more token terms in upcoming episodes. We all know that CBD is lauded as the medical miracle cannabinoid, and that's not wrong. CBD is great and certainly helps many, many people, but I've been hearing a lot of negativity about the other popular cannabinoid, THC. Lately, I'm hearing a lot of people downplaying the medicinal effects of THC because it gets you high. Look, just because THC is psychoactive doesn't mean it does not have medicinal benefits. THC has been known to work as an analgesic, help combat nausea, protect brain cells, help with sleep, as well as increase people's appetites. Try and tell one of our country's veterans that she should only be using CBD to treat her PTSD and see what kind of reception you get. THC is also necessary in small amounts to aid in the entourage effect, that idea that all parts of the plant work better together. Now, I've talked to a lot of people out there who tell me they won't use THC because it gets you high. But as soon as I ask, have you ever used THC? The answer is almost inevitably no. So let's talk about what being high actually means. First of all, let's get one thing crystal clear. Being high is not being drunk. In fact, it's the opposite of being drunk. There's even an antidote. If you've had too much THC, simply chew on a few peppercorns and relax in a quiet room. I can almost guarantee you that you will be absolutely fine. I guess there's an antidote to alcohol too, if you overdose. If you want to call vomiting an antidote. So the next time someone poo-poos THC, tell them there's a lot of benefits to that cannabinoid that seems to be the ugly duckling.
Hey, it's Chris, Hart, Kate, and Basil. And Basil, that Dan Sutton, he sounds like a very interesting fella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great Twitter feed. If you want to follow it, at D Sutton 1986, and really informative feed. Yeah. Smart guy.
He's all over that stuff. It's
I got to follow him for sure. Yeah. And follow Hart too. What's your Twitter address?
That's just at Hart Steinfeld.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I retweet a lot of your stuff. It's great. Now, when I was doing the Strain Explorer for Churchill from Afria, I was actually thinking of Basil's Buds a lot. I found it a very good base strain.
For a blend?
For a blend. It's a 6 THC, 10% CBD. Or anybody who's really new to cannabis, I think they should look into trying this one maybe first.
I really dig having that type of product for a base for for whatever you're consuming. It helps get that CBD into your body on a regular basis. I've always attributed that to being one of the things that keeps migraines away from me. So just got to get that CBD in you.
Now, we do have a question for you, Kate, with You Can Ask Us Anything, because you can do that on the show. Today's question from Ms. M. And Hart said earlier, is that Mary Jane? All right, so Ms. M, this question for you, Kate. In Kate's Kitchen, episode 74, you talked about making tinctures. What do you recommend for those who can't use alcohol?
Good question. And thank you for watching, Miss M. Yeah, I think because our buddy here, he doesn't like alcohol at all.
I do not.
So you were quick to point out in that episode too that glycerin was an alternative base. I think that people can use because it is a solvent. So there's only a few solvents that have ever been used with cannabis, and most of them you don't want to be ingesting. So glycerin is a vegetable base, it's an oil, and it's a hydrocarbon, correct? So, and it's a solvent, so it's great to use as a base for your tinctures, which do store really well, by the way, and they're probably more economical too, and you can make any kind of blend of tincture that you want.
I know lots of people use tinctures for certain reasons.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it's kind of like a halfway there product.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could evaporate off that alcohol, or you could get rid of that base that you're using and have a nice, highly concentrated product that you could use as a raw material for so many different things.
Yeah, it's a real thick oil at that point. I've made that mistake a couple of times. But
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, tinctures are great, but maybe you want to look into
Trying
other
something
methods of
else.
ingestion.
Might be easier.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the
Yeah.
question was specifically around tinctures, but it's nice to look at other.
Yeah.
True enough. Like back when, before Prohibition, that was a huge way that doctors would prescribe cannabis was through tinctures. Like 80% or something was a tincture base. And so it's got that.
Actually, it does have a medical flavor to it. And if it is just cannabis, it could be a really good thing. Maybe that's the way we got to go. Almost like those single dose syringes you were talking about on that episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ms. M, for your question. And if you have a question for The Cannabis Show, our email address is thisisthecannabisshow@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.